Have you seen the news? I mean, obviously not. You haven't seen the news yet, but when you see it, like I'm just saying, it's gonna be a little mind blowing. What's the news? Well, you got to keep watching. What's up, guys? Sam here. Hopefully you're doing well. Listen, got a couple stories to talk about today. The 2021 iPad Pro, we have our first look at that, which is pretty cool. Also some details on a fix coming for some M1 Mac computers that might have been affecting some of you. But I actually want to start out today with something that I am shocked to see. Not only has Samsung beaten Apple to the punch by launching their own ultra-wideband smart tags. Yeah, this is actually real. They also announced some new smartphone. Samsung smartphone. Can we get an F in the chat? No, what I'm shocked about is that actually one of Apple's prototype iPhone 12 models has leaked. Now, why is this surprising? Why is this out of the ordinary? Well, for a few reasons. One, when these devices leak, you usually don't see very good pictures of them because, prototypes are not supposed to ever come out. Second, when they do come out, it's years after that product has been unveiled so that, nobody associated with the project could be linked to this prototype. And for me, this is wild to see because it's not running the iOS 14.1 software that like you and I had on our phones. This is running a special version, like an internal prototype version that has a ton of things, you don't really see on your iPhone. And zooming in on here, you can see a bunch of stuff we don't have access to, like Allo, which looks to be like iCloud, Astro, Cocoa Blender. That sounds kind of delicious. What do these mean? They're internal tools. Like generally, these applications are created to test specific functions. So like one of these, maybe the one that kind of looks like the rings, is like to test the LiDAR sensor. We know that there was like a special app designed just for Apple to mess around with that. Really, these are like internal applications that we will never see. Number one, because like they don't have a UI. They're just designed to test the hardware and software features on the iPhone. I mean, even the Pro prototype in blue looks good. Damn. So this is pretty cool, but something else that I'm even more into than seeing an unreleased product that's something we've seen released is just seeing, I don't know, call me crazy, an unreleased product in general. And we got just that courtesy of MySmartPrice, who somehow magically obtained some very credible looking renders for the next generation of the iPad Pro. Now, there's a few things to note about these. Number one, this is only for the 11-inch. So everything I talk about perhaps will be exclusive only to the 11-inch, like the different physical features we're seeing on this new generation version that is expected to come out as soon as March, because we're hearing that the 12.9-inch version will actually be getting a mini LED display. It will have potentially different dimensions, and it might actually be like a little bit thicker on the larger 12.9-inch version. None of that is visualized here, but let's go ahead and dive into what's coming on the 11-inch version. This is actually my size of choice. I've tried the 12.9-inch, and honestly, it's never cut it. Like it's not that it's not good enough. It's just too big. I don't like the biggest iPhone. I don't like the biggest iPad. I do like the biggest computers. Like the iMac and the 16-inch MacBook Pro, those are great. Just not these mobile devices. So first of all, the overall design remaining the same. Do not expect a major refresh. Like Apple settled on, the current iPad Pro design that we have. I love it. It is obviously what is inspired like the iPhone and everything else good that Apple's been releasing. So please, Apple, keep this up. And they are with the at least 11-inch version of the 2021 iPad Pro. But what's wild is Apple's changing the dimensions. So the 2018 and 2020 iPad Pros, identical. Like they had the LiDAR sensor in 2021 and a few other things like a better processor, but like the design was the same. And I assumed that like with the iPhone, like it usually stays the same dimensions, maybe it's thicker or thinner. Amazingly, this is gonna be just as thick as before. So the thickness of the new iPad Pro will be the same, yet it is going to be about 1% smaller. So they're shrinking the length and the width, this part and this part, but not this part, by 1%. It's like just under 1% from the calculations I did. I'm not gonna read the exact dimensions because you guys want me to read the exact dimensions? 245.74 by 176.61 by 5.9. That's the dimensions. That's what that means. But I just find it interesting that Apple is changing the dimensions at all. That makes me believe it has something to do with the screen and that both models will probably be getting the mini LED display, which I hope, because like if the 11-inch doesn't get the mini LED screen, I'm gonna be upset. I assume though that like a 1% shrink is like why it'll still be compatible with the same Magic Keyboard. I just find it interesting that they're changing it at all. Like I don't know why, but hey, it will be slightly smaller, same screen sizes. Also, Apple is reducing the number of speaker holes on the device by about 33% from what I'm seeing. Before, they would have 12 dots on the bottom and the top for stereo speakers. They are apparently relocating the speakers internally a little bit. I assume upgrading them. Again, maybe this has to do with a display change of some kind. And there will now be 8 speaker holes on each like quadrant. So like 8, 8, 8, 8 on each part. This is weird. Is this even a YouTube? What am I doing out here? So like 16 total holes on the top and 16 total holes on the bottom instead of like 24 on each end of the device. I don't know how that's going to impact sound quality, but that is also the change we're seeing physically on this CAD design that, again, MySmartPrice was able to obtain. The only other thing I noticed physically changing on the device is it appears like there might be a new third mic on the top of the iPad Pro, but again, this could just be like a rough render, so maybe that's actually part of the like internal design that's sort of popping out and it looks like it's here. Not entirely sure, but I mean, Apple has been known to upgrade the mics. They actually upgraded the iPad Pro mics from the 2018 to 2020 version. So I would see no reason for them not to do it again. They've really been like putting tons of mics on AirPods Max, putting them on the iMac, like they're expanding the mics. So absolutely believable that they're adding another microphone on here to make you sound even better for your video calls. Everything else though, like the location of the volume rocker and of course the dual camera, wide, ultra wide, and then LiDAR sensor, that is staying. I'm gonna be honest, I haven't really gotten a lot of use out of my camera system on the iPad. And if Apple just went back to one camera on the back, I wouldn't bat an eye. I don't use my iPad cameras really ever. Do you guys ever use the iPad cameras? Maybe do, maybe do. I'm just saying. Would it be bad if they reduce the price a little bit and put less cameras? It's just an idea. It's just an idea. A good idea, I think. Regardless of the changes, I don't think my love for the iPad Pro is gonna go anywhere, and I don't think that my love for the M1 Max is gonna go anywhere either, because apparently, I was looking into some stuff about the M1 Max. I saw some reporting that there have been Bluetooth issues with some M1 models, like related to like just the presence of the M1 chip, where it's either completely non-functional, like you get no ingoing or outgoing Bluetooth connectivity, or sometimes it's just intermittent. I will say, I think I've noticed once, maybe twice, like some intermittent stuff. It hasn't impacted my workflow in any significant way because it fixes itself, but apparently some users have had like persistent Bluetooth issues with their M1 Max. According to someone who has spoke with Apple, I believe they're a writer for The Atlantic, which is pretty cool. I don't know how they're getting exclusive stuff, but they spoke to Apple and they say a fix is coming very shortly. So we don't have an exact release date, but if you've been having some Bluetooth connectivity issues on your beautiful, illustrious, wonderful M1 Mac, then I really think you don't have to wait much longer because the fix will be on the way. But again, I haven't not had any serious things. Anyway, that's the news update for today. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, drop a like down below, hit subscribe for more. I've been Sam. Hope you're doing well. Catch you cool cats in my next video. Peace.